Imperial Expansion and Administration, Chapter 6. You know, we are reading the ancient history of India. This part of Indian history, our today's topic, that already I have told you, the imperial expansion and administration. In this topic, where have been discussed about the definition of empire and definition of emperor and origin of first empire of the Indian subcontinent. The most important factor of this topic is invasion of Alexander the Great of Greece. Not only that, the Maurya Empire or Chandragupta Maurya and Arthashastra, which is written by Kautilya or Chanakya. And you know, there is a famous king of Indian subcontinent at the time of ancient period, whose name is Ashoka. Now, I am discussing one by one, and first I will tell you what is called empire. In your textbook, if you open your book, page number 79, the definition of empire has been discussed first. And what is empire? Simply, we may state of an empire is a huge territory. Let us consider that there are a few thousands of people in a kingdom. Then, in an empire, there will be some few lakhs of people. Large territorial unit is formed by the merger of many kingdoms. This huge area is known as empire. Okay? Precisely, if we define the terms empire, we may call it just like this. A large territorial unit is formed by the merger of many kingdoms is known as empire. An empire is a sovereign state that ruled over by an emperor like monarch. This is the definition of emperor. And second one, what is called emperor? Obviously, a person who rules over an empire is an emperor. Emperor means big kings. He or she is the last word in his territory. Okay? This is emperor. I mean king. And who is known as empress? A person rules over an empire is an emperor. When such ruler is an woman, she is known as an empress. Okay. Regarding the discussion of these two terms, one is emperor and another is empire. Here we will find a word Rajadhiraj. Actually, Rajadhiraj means king of all kings. King of all kings is known as Rajadhiraj. Frankly, we say the Rajadhiraj is a king of a vast territorial unit. Okay. Now, this is the words that I have told, and it is the definition that already I have been discussed here. Next, how was the first empire of Indian subcontinent formed? You know, in our previous chapter we have told and already mentioned 16th Mahajanapada. And among the 16th Mahajanapada, that was in 6th century BC, the king of Magadha had conquered most of the other Mahajanapada. And after conquering the other Mahajanapadas, Magadha became or expanded the territory of the state or empire. So, according to historical evidence, Magadha was the first empire that was originated in our ancient history of Indian. Now, here an important character who is the Alexander the Great. Around 300 BC, the ruler of Macedonia in Greece crossed the Hindu Kush mountains and entered the Indian subcontinent. He was engaged in warfare with many small and big rulers of subcontinents, and one by one he conquered the Indian Empire. But an important incident that had been occurred during the invasion of Alexander the Great. You know, Puru or Porus, a very famous king and who ruled over the area in between Jhelum and Chenab river. Porus fought Alexander with his huge army, and Porus defeated or lost to the Greeks, that is Alexander the Great. Obviously, Alexander conquered a huge number of states or kingdom of Indian kings. But most important things what I want to say you, after defeating Poro was placed in front of Alexander the Great, and Alexander the Great asked Porus, what do you expect from me? The defeating king Porus said, now I have defeated by you, but one identity is our same. You are a king and I am also a king. So I expect a friendly relationship or friendly behavior as a king from you. After hearing this, Alexander the Great was pleased and he freed the king Puro and gifted his own state or kingdom along with another two kingdoms. This is an important incident of Indian history during the invasion of Alexander the Great. And however, due to the Alexander's invasion, the power of a small kingdom in north of the subcontinent decreased. As a result, it was easier to Chandragupta Maurya to build an empire around 320 BC. The Mauryas could establish their supremacy with much ease in Punjab and northwestern region. Okay, this is short discussion about Chandragupta Maurya. We know several dynasties ruled over Magad Empire, and the King Dhanananda of Nandu dynasties was the last king of Nandu dynasties, and King Dhanananda lost to Chandragupta Maurya. It was in this way that the Mauryan rule had begun in Magadha. During the rule of Nandas, influence of Magadha had spread in North India. In generally, Chandragupta Maurya increased his power over the kingdom of Magadha. Okay, and he built up a king capital that was known as Pataliputra, and the main credit of building the Mauryan Empire rests with Chandragupta Maurya. Here, I will tell you about Arthashastra. Actually, Arthashastra, a book very well known not only in our Indian history, ancient period, but all over the world till date. In this text, that is Arthashastra, has been discussed how to govern a state, and how to manage or control over the states or populations. And Arthashastra is written by Kautilya, whose another name is Chanakya. And in these books, there are detailed discussion about every aspect of monarchical duty in the Arthashastra. The Arthashastra is an important source of Mauryan history that I have told you already. And in this context, the most important factor is Ashoka. You know, Ashoka was an Mauryan emperor. So, he was the son of Bindusara and became the emperor of the great king Ashoka. And there are so many stories about the king Ashoka. You know, at the time of his rule, he fought only one war, that is known as Kalinga War. And huge number of people died in this war, and huge number of people was injured. And Ashoka left the policy of conquering other states after Kalinga War, and he went to the Upagupta and he took and Upagupta and Upagupta had initiated Ashoka into Buddhism. And after taking the Buddhism, the life of Ashoka was totally changed, and he took the principle of non-violence. That is the another part of Indian history, and I would like to discuss it in briefly in my